All right. Hello, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, everybody. Look, I'm new here. My name is Paul Tranny, as you can tell by my shirt. I changed shirts just to mix it up a little bit so you don't get sick of me, but this is going to be good. And I think this will be nice and collaborative. Don't get sick of me, Andreas. Please don't. Right now, it's all about you guys, right? It's all about supercharging Photoshop. So it is day one, basically, of the daily creative challenges, which we're going to get into right now. So it's going to be good. It consists of 9 challenges. If you're joining me elsewhere, I see you out there, Muriel. Good to have you here. I'm watching Behance chat, behance.net/Adobe Live. So, yeah, so join me out there. Hello, Sean. I see you here as well. Cool. So let's kind of share with what the Daily Creative Challenge is. So hopefully you're on Behance. You can go to the Challenge tab, and I'll share that with you guys right now. Bam, there we are. Who's the guy with the new shirt? It's me. Even though it is snowing out here in Denver, Colorado, I still decided to put on a Hawaiian shirt. Diana from the UK, good to have you here. Awesome. Hello. Daphne as well. I love that name, Daphne. That's a great name. Wow. There needs to be more Daphnes in the world. I just think that's a cool name. Okay, so this is the link. Could always share that everywhere, just so you know. I'll paste it everywhere else, just so you guys have it. And you can see Daily Creative Challenge consists of 9 challenges. Day 1 is all about sort of supercharging Photoshop, right? So we can get the started file. You're watching the video right now, but you can click there to get started, and it will take you to, even though it's not quite working for me, sorry about that, it will look like this. So here it is. Challenge 1, it's just this lovely little hummingbird. Actually, I don't know if it's a hummingbird. It looks similar to a hummingbird, but a little bit too large. Plus, hummingbirds like never stay still, do they? Let's open this up. Here's our file in Photoshop. Greetings from sunny, warm London. Is it sunny and warm? I think cold weather places in the summertime are just like the best ever. London isn't considered to be the most sunny place. I'm sure when the sun is out, everybody's mood immediately changes. So, oh, sunny and warm in NYC. By the way, there's a storm coming your way. It just hit Colorado, and it's headed to the East Coast. All right, so here we are. I want to point out a couple things. Let's just make sure that is reset. A couple things that you might do. And I'm going to go over Photoshop, snafus, shortcuts, like how to really supercharge Photoshop. So that's the goal. Are we going to make anything amazing? Not today, but when we're ready, it's gonna be amazing. So I'm just gonna change my displays, because this sometimes happens, right? You'll change the displays, right? And you can't grab anything, right? You can typically try to grab the corner, but does it do it? Let's see. Wait for it. Yeah, there we go. You could resize from all corners by holding down the Option key. So if you need to just like resize your screen to make something smaller, just do that. A lot of times if it's off on the top portion, it'll automatically snap into place as soon as you start to scale it down. But again, hold the Option key or the Alt key, and you can resize that. And again, that's just kind of where I wanted to start, because I'm often changing resolutions. Once you have the resolutions set up, we can dive into this. Snafus. Is that a word? No, Jojo Keegan from UK as well. Rita Smith, hi. So here's our wonderful little bird. All I did is I reset the workspace to the essentials, but you know, chances are you're gonna wanna make your own. I already have Paul's fave right here. So what does that mean? You probably, you know, have this set up where you maybe have the colors closed. Libraries I put over here. You make it your own, huh? But I'm going to show you pro tips I'm so excited about. Paths, I don't use paths that much. I don't really use channels that much. But this is typically how I set it up. Again, all about supercharging Photoshop. I put my big panels right here so it can cover the full length of my screen. So that's what I do with these very big panels, right? And sometimes I'll have my properties panel right over here as well. I don't even use adjustments that much, but it all depends on your document, right? So sometimes I'll have my layers panel, just because I'll have so many layers, I'll typically like have it go from the top clear to the bottom, so I'm not doing a lot of scrolling. I've seen so many, tell me if you guys have seen this. I've seen so many streamers that they will work in the corner. They'll have all these panels up and they'll sit here and they'll scroll in the corner because they have all these layers and they're just scrolling up and down, like, and it just drives me nuts. So, you know what, just expand that panel. Just have that panel take up that whole space. Please, for the love of all that is holy, do that, okay? Here's another thing I would do. So, again, I'm just gonna kind of draw some stuff out. Maybe I already have it set up this way, but let's kind of turn that off. Let me show you this really fast, really fast. Okay, so let's pretend like I have multiple layers, which I actually do now. I should actually even open up a complex file. Can I do that really fast? Let me open something up pretty complex. You know, you've probably all seen this. I've been working on it a lot. Look at how many layers does it have? Well, it says right down here. Let's pull this out. We can see it has 235 layers, right? So at least for my needs, I need this big long panel. I can't tell what's what. Can you? Sean is seen. I'm seeing you, Sean. Just expand that layers panel. Just drives me crazy. Okay. I can't tell, like, where the heck is that peony? Like, what is artwork 12? I can't see. It's like a little dot right there. So go to your flyout menu for your layers panel. Go to panel options. If you remember one thing that I do today, and hopefully you guys all have it set up this way, just change this to layer bounds. Again, I know seasoned Photoshop professionals that I'll be hosting them on a live stream and they're like, I never knew about this. Also, I never expand new effects and I never add copy to my layers. Like, I get it. I don't want to have flower to copy. Like, I don't need it. Just call it flower, right? I don't expand new effects. Layer bounds, that's what I'm talking about. Watch it change as we click OK. Bam! Ah, glorious. I can see everything's like wonderful. Yeah, first off, I do have a little issue with that, Ted. If you have an image with 1,500 layers, like I've been there, I've done that. Part of me also thinks, I don't know. I have an opinion about that. I'll just shut up. Because I'm like, there's easier ways to, 1,500 layers doesn't impress me. Because it's like, part of me thinks that like, are you building that efficiently enough? I don't know, like why? I don't know. This part of me is like, I gotta shut up. Anyway, it's like with this. I would probably have, anyways, some of this grouped into smart objects. That's all. Okay, I'll stop. How do you name the layers when you design an onion? I don't know. Just onion 1, 2, 3 layer. Oh, you're so good. That's funny. I just got it. Layer 1, 2, 3. Honestly, I don't care if you name your layers. Okay, shortcuts. Peony. Okay, peony. I don't know where the heck where's that peony? There's like 50 peonies in here. Guess what? Option. Click. Bam. We're there. What about this hydrangea? Boom. Bam. We're there. Just hold down the option key and you'll jump to all of those flowers, that layer, right? So boom, boom, boom. I'm realizing where everything is, okay? Command H. That's gonna hide so we don't get that pixel grid, right? I'm not crazy about this pixel grid, right? So that's what you're doing. Bounce around, bounce around. Oops, take that off. Command 0. Oops. Command 0, not O. And we're back out. What is expand new effects? Expand new effects means when you add, say, a bevel and emboss, or a stroke, maybe 3 of these things, when I add them, it doesn't expand them down below. It's like, I've already added them. Don't push everything out. Because I immediately, as soon as I add those effects, I tuck that back away. So that's why I'm like, don't expand new effects, because I just immediately close it. So think about the things that you do a lot, and try to build in a shortcut for that. Okay. Yeah, always turn off the pixel grid. Other things, again, if you want to find the center of a document, we have guide layouts under view, new guide layout. So right in here, we can say, hey, you know what? And actually, we could save this as a preset, which is also a good idea. But we'll just have one column, no gutter, and one row, right? One column, one row. Sure enough, what does that give me? Oh, actually, sorry, I'm a goofball. 2 columns, 2 rows. That gives me in the center. So that's what we have: 2 columns, 2 rows, and then you could see that it gives me that exact center if you want that. Okay, and then yeah, you can just go with that, and that's your custom. And we could just save this as the center. It's not that big of a deal in this case. Center. Click OK. Okay, enough about that. Let's move on. What's the deal with these layers? What is the deal with them? Alrighty. Yeah, Frank, I agree with you. I'm not a fan of pixel grid. So we have this set up. We have all these various layers. I'm just showing you this file. So there's a big difference between this file and this file. One is very big, right? It's one layer that's just a big file. The second one is a small file with many layers, right? So we need to optimize Photoshop for these two scenarios. I'm in this camp where I'm just using 1,000 layers that within an Instagram size. So we want to go into Photoshop and we want to optimize Photoshop for these scenarios. We'll go to preferences, right? We'll go into file handling, okay? Oh, sorry, go into performance. Sorry about that. And we can talk about all these categories. Performance. Guess what? We could do huge pixel dimensions if you're doing more photography with one single layer, right? Or what you could do web UI design. That will change your history states and cache levels. But right down here, you could see what it says. It says, hey, you know what? Best for smaller document dimensions with many layers. So you don't have to fiddle with these numbers. You just go ahead and click Web UI Design, right? In my case, it would be more like compositing is what I'd call it, and then huge pixel dimensions. If all you're using is Photoshop, you could crank up the memory usage if you want to as well. Okay, mine's about at 80%. All right, Maribel. Also want to say, yeah, welcome if you're joining us for the first time. Hey, Brad Ketchum, what's up? Let me know if it's your first time. I want to just kind of give you a warm, virtual hug and say we appreciate you for hanging out and all that good stuff. We all know that we can go into interface, right? You probably are aware of this. If you hold down Shift and Option or Command and Shift, you can change the appearance to, say, latte or espresso, or just hit it again. While you click, hold down the Shift and Command, or Shift and Control if you're on a PC, and we could have rye toast or straight up white bread. Okay. All right, Gary, slow clap. Welcome, Gary's in the house. Since it's your first time, here's a latte. There you go. Maybe more like a cappuccino, because I like it a little darker. I don't know how you guys feel. And Andreas. Cool. So we have this set up. Let's see what else we want to go into for some of these. I turn off rich tooltips. I turn off overscroll. Right, history log, you can turn that on. File handling. Yeah. Cursors. It's just up to you. I usually keep everything kind of at the default since I demo a lot and I don't want to mess with my settings too much. But feel free to change any of these settings that you want to as well. If you want to get clever, you can get into the technology previews and enable some of these new features to see what we're working on next, which is cool. Okay, so we can continue to work away. Another sneaky tip, since we're talking about really like sort of turbocharging it, like what if I want this background right here to be black? Well, I could actually change that with the paint bucket. Select your paint bucket, right? I have black for the color, and then we could just shift click. Sorry, it's not even black. How about if you change it to black, Paul? I want it to be black, black, black. Paint bucket, shift key, click. We've changed that color, right? We could flip it to red just so you can see it do its thing. Shift, click, and now that canvas is red in case you want to be really annoying about all of it. Okay. All right, so we'll click again. We'll make that black. Rulers as well. Command R for ruler. That's another annoying thing. Can we just talk about things that annoy me? I don't have enough time for that. Another thing for me is like, why do people always have their rulers on? Does the size really matter all the time? No, just you know, don't worry about it. Like, drag out that ruler. It's fine, right? So just Command R. There we are. Okay, we're working on this file. Where the heck is this file? By the way, where is it? I do this all the time. I open up files, especially when I'm doing something super intense, like I opened up the skull flowers. Where the heck did I get it? We'll just right click on that file and sure enough, reveal in Finder. Bam, there it is. Revealing that in Finder. Sure enough, there it is. Oh shoot, what's the shortcut key? It's gonna take me a second now. When in doubt, let's just hold them all down and open it. No, that didn't work. Probably because it's already open. What is it? Option key? Nope, that's not it either. Anyways, I wanted to open this up as like a template file, but let's not worry about that. Okay, moving on. A lot of times I will have multiple files open. Oh, that's interesting, Chad. I didn't know that. Sometimes with rulers, having them on slows things down, right? Oh, that's fascinating. A lot of time I'm working on a composition and I'll have a ton of images open. Right. As you can see right here. Right, and I'll bounce between all of them, right? I'm kind of working on all this stuff. I'll go to Window, and then I will arrange them, right? I'll tile all of them, right? And then I could see them all, jump to the one I want, grab this flower, bring it over into here, for instance, right? And that's typically what I'll do is I'll locate those butterflies. There we are, bring that in here. And then I have to go right up here to Window, and then go ahead and consolidate all to tabs. So that's one thing I do a lot. Another thing I do a lot is when I have an object, I'll want to convert it to a smart object, right? So I'll right click, convert to smart object, right? And that gives me ability to scale it up, scale it down, and then back up without losing quality, because a smart object looks like this. Hey, I'm a smart object. I'm a separate, sorry, I'm not spelling a file. That's so bad. You're here for Photoshop, not for spelling. Double click, open up that file. Oh, there it is. Let's change the transparency, save it, close it. That's a separate file. We scale it up. That's the power of smart objects. So I'm showing you 3 things that I do consistently, and I do so much more than that. I use Puppet Warp all the time, right? Looks like that shortcut's not set up, but make keyboard shortcuts for this stuff, right? Go in there, make keyboard shortcuts. I'll go to Edit. I need to make it for my Puppet Warp right in here, and I'll usually mash all these keys together. Control, Option, Command, P. Right, because I know all these, this is usually not taken up. Control, Option, and Command, and then the letter of the tool. That's how I do it, because I always have to just remember it's the first letter of the tool. Right, we have that done. Mash those keys together, bam, Puppet Warp. Right, and there it is, Puppet Warp. We can grab that, we can bend it, and bend this around, and do something fun with it. Again, just take advantage of shortcuts. Oops. Did not quite grab that pin, but there we are. Something like that. Who knows? Right? All right, checking the time. I have 5 minutes. Yes, exactly, Uriel. It is a non-destructive change. Check this out. This is another handy thing about smart objects. It just put that Puppet Warp, this separate file, or this is technically a PSD, PSB, Photoshop big file, for those who are interested, but it protects the original file. Sure enough, I said it was a PSB, there it is. All right, so it protects it. I can turn it off before Puppet Warp, after Puppet Warp. You get the idea. Okay, so let's move on. So we've saved all of our shortcuts. Here's another thing you want to do. Let me go back into preferences. The last thing I'll talk about. Jump in here. Check this out. Preset syncing. Turn this on, right? So actually, before I even do that, what are we talking about when I say preset syncing? I'm talking about gradients, shapes, swatches, brushes, like all this stuff, patterns, right? All of this that I've made, right? Like all this stuff. Again, we're talking about really supercharging Photoshop. I've already kind of have this optimized, but check this out. Go in here, go to Legacy Shapes and More. For each one of these preset panels has Legacy Shapes and More because it gives you all this extra stuff. So I'll scroll down, Legacy Shapes and More. Let's twirl that down. 2019, we gave you all this stuff. Legacy Shapes, we gave you all this stuff as well. Like, look at this, music notes. We're gonna use these later on. Like, take all those, organize them the way you want, and then turn on preset syncing. This is usually how I have mine set up, by the way. I put everything in one big folder, just because I could visually kind of scroll down to whatever I want. So a lot of times I'll end up using like these symbols, the hearts and stuff, but they're right in here now. Scroll up, sure enough, I recognize the notes rather than going to the folder. So all you need to do, open up your gradients, your patterns, your swatches, customize this any way you want, right? And then make sure you sync. When you're doing preset syncing, it might keep a separate little folder. It says, hey, the original ones I'm gonna like protect. So it just I ends up with this folder. I end up with that type of folder. But nonetheless, that's how you're gonna optimize all of these shapes, swatches, you know, get as many as you want. Cause again, like I said, legacy patterns and more. This is how you really turbocharge Photoshop and access so many more things than you ever thought were possible. Paper, stuff like that, okay? So yeah, you guys get the idea. Let me turn this on. Workspace, by the way, once you get this done, you want to go ahead and save your workspace. That's something I did not mention. Sorry about that. We set it up, but we didn't save it, and that's typical Paul. Workspace, new workspace, right? And we'll call this Paul's new one, right? And there we are. So you can always get to it right in here. I have Paul's fave. Let's switch to it. This is Paul's fave. Oh, look what we have here. Libraries, right? Like I talk about fonts and libraries, right? Super easy to work with. Libraries right in here. Worked with designers that are like, wait, I always go to my hard drive. Don't go to your hard drive. Like, cut out that flower and then put it in a folder, right? So like right in here. You know, here's a rose. Let's just edit it, right? So here it is. I just made, well, I didn't make it. I cut it out one day. And I'm like, rather than trying to hunt this down, I'm going to take this file and I'm just going to drag it right in here, right? And there it is. There's now 2 of them. Now it's easy to access. I have that layer called rose. So all I need to do is go up here. I don't even care where it is. We'll search for flower. There's probably going to be 50 zillion of them. But rose, type that in. There's my 2 roses and some other ones as well. Okay. libraries is set up, right? We've created this file. Let's talk about output really fast. I know I didn't really do anything to this file, which I apologize, I guess. But let's take a look at outputting. Do something, if you want to, do something with it. But right in here, let's do a save for web. That's typically what I'll use. I'll save for web because I want to keep track of the size. This is going to be a JPEG, high quality JPEG. It's about 60. It's not the highest. But as I scroll down here, oh, this is massive. I don't need it that big. You know, let's do 1500, for instance, right? Click OK, or click on the canvas, and then it will go ahead and resize it. So we could save that to our desktop as an image that's a reasonable size when posting to Discord, because that's where we want to go. Photoshop. Here's the challenge. Everybody just made banners the other day. Creative challenge, Supercharge Photoshop. Do what you want, output what you want, have fun with that image, post it in challenge. Just drag it in there because now we know it's the right size. Okay. For all you pros out there, the next thing you want to do is start playing with, say, the adjustment layers and cutting it out and just having fun with it, right? We'll get into more of that later. If I just do a hue and saturation, right, we could have sort of a weird experience. So do a little tweak like that. Output it out, right? Again, save for web, right? Sizing it down if we want to, because again, Discord does have a size requirement. And then post that one. Oh, I'm sorry, things got corrupt. If you have an item in the multipliers, no, it's going to be separate images. Like, you'll know this, by the way. This is how you'll know about all your library images, right? I have 2 flowers. If I double click on it, remember what we just learned. We'll open this document. We'll do a reveal in Finder on this file that happens to be a library item. Boom, this is where my library exists. You could see it makes 2 copies, so keep that in mind. Keep your library cleaned up. It does not consolidate down to 1. I gotta go. I appreciate you guys. Up next, we got a full day ahead of you, so thanks so much for watching, and we'll see you guys tomorrow. Thank you.